I think we're live. I think we should go live. Look at this. Look at this. That's the whole game, actually, in a nutshell. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We're in a different room of the back rooms. Like I said, we're just going to spawn anywhere. It could be different locations every time. But as you guys trickle in, let's just talk about what the hell we just witnessed. This, honestly, was probably one of the most boring hockey games I've ever watched, and then all of a sudden it turned one of the best. Okay, boring. Why was it boring? Well, because for the first 50 minutes of the game, Carolina was doing this. Jack shite. They weren't doing anything. There was nothing. You looked at just how the game was going and who was controlling it. Vegas. Like, Vegas was controlling the game. If I did intermission breaks and gave my thoughts and reactions to what we were witnessing and watching during the intermissions, during the first intermission, I'd have been, okay, Carolina needs to find something out here and try to get back into this. Because it was 1-0. Yeah, it was 1-0 at the first intermission. And so there's nothing too much to panic on, okay, here we go, blah, blah, blah. But then after second intermission, when it was 2-0 after Howden's second goal, I would have been like, okay, this game's over. This game is over. This is Vegas's game to lose, which it ended up being that. And so in this stream, what I want to talk about is just my reaction to the whole game as a whole. We'll talk about the most, where is it? The Vegas challenge / Anderson save. We're going to talk about that, and that might be, we might have like 5 minutes to 10 minutes alone of just me talking about that, because it was huge. That was probably biggest as far as I can remember in recent memory. Like, that was not defining for the whole series, but just imagine if that was called a goal and Vegas is going up 2-0. We're headed back to Vegas, where, the Golden Knights have games on hand and they could sweep. So thankfully, because it was something that I wasn't worried about it, but like I was thinking about it, genuine, holy fetch, there could be a sweep, because everybody started talking about a sweep after, like they were talking about it during the intermission, where they kept bringing up, well, there hasn't been a sweep in 28 some odd years since like 1998 or 1997. Like, it's been a while. And I mentioned it in a stream too, because they've been going in period 20 when posting about the history of the NHL, not 10. I has to do two reasons. One, because the last time the Canes went to the Stanley Cup final was 20 years ago. But then two, Instagram updated something. So instead of 10 posts, you can do 20 posts. But I think they updated it from 10 to 15 and then 15 to 20, something like that. Don't read into that too much, unless you want to, because you're like me. But in all the slides that it would show over the last 20 years of, like, here's the 2006, the 2007, the 2008, the 2009, and all of these Stanley Cups are like 6 games, 7 games, 5 games, 5 games, 6 games, 6 games, 5 games, 6 games. And none of them were a sweep. And I was like, gosh, this is leading to the biggest hype of how this could be one of the greatest Stanley Cup finals. And it ends up being a sweep. Kind of like how I was feeling about the Western Conference Finals. Like, I was awked on, okay, you have the President Trophy winners, Avalanche. You have Vegas, who's just pesky, because Vegas is pesky always. You have them playing in the Western Conference Finals. This has the chance to go 7. It only went 4. It only went 4. Now, so we're trickling in. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you guys enjoy content and just sports content in general. But here we are giving my reactions to game 2 of the Stanley Cup Finals. All right, so yeah, Vegas was up 1-0 during the mission. It was pretty concerning, considering that Vegas only had 2 shots in the first period. and they were leading 1-0. And Carolina had 6 shots on goal or 8, something. And like with the fact that Anderson only facing 2 shots and they're down, that was a little concerning. For the remainder, sorry, there's a smudge on my screen. For the remainder of this series, I think the wins this series, it's going to be because of their goaltender. And I feel that way about every single series. Don't get me wrong. Now, with Carolina tying it 1 apiece, we are guaranteed 5. So, there's that. If this goes at least 6, I mean, this has the potential of being better than last year's Stanley Cup final. And I mean, in recent memory, I think the best Stanley Cup final in recent memory is probably 24. And that's only because it was a 7-game series. Who cares how it got to 7? It was a 7-game series. And even Game 7 was close. And to me, I just... it was better than the 5-game series with Vegas and Florida. It was better than... I don't really remember Colorado's and Tampa's too much. Like, I watched literally every single game, but I don't remember too much of how it ended. I think the Avalanche went up 3-1 in that series, and then Tampa forced to 6, and then the Avalanche blew them out in Game 6, I think. I don't know. I could be wrong on that. But, like, the 21 and the 20... 18, no, 19 went 7 as well, so yeah, but anyways, I digress. So it was Vegas 1-0 heading into first intermission. Big storylines in the first intermission as well. McNabb freaking took a puck off the face like a champ. Not that that's a good thing. It was kind of jolting, truthfully, too, because, I mean, I was writing down notes and stuff. I looked away from the computer screen and he was dropped. And so I thought, okay, maybe he took one off the shin or off the gut or something, because, like, that happens. But then when it showed the replay of, like, literally, boom, right off the visor and, like, grabbing his face, I feel bad. Hopefully he's okay. I did see that ESPN said that he left, which I was okay with. The attitude of hockey and what hockey is, my brain was like, yeah, watch him come back and score a goal. Total badass. But it's like, no, dude probably shattered his nose and broke his face, like, right there. And so it's like, yeah, okay, he's probably not coming back. But hopefully Nab's good. Do I think he comes back? Probably not. I mean, because, yeah, if you broke your face, you broke your face. But that's not his fault. That's just... I did see that Coach Tort was yapping at the ref after it happened. And there was parts of me that think, did he get cross-checked? And because he got cross-checked and fell over, he's falling on the... When you watch replay, it looked like the defender was trying to, like, shield McNabb base. I don't know. Now, I'm not saying that the defender, like, legally swiped his... Like, it looked... I don't know. It was a weird, thing that happened, because I haven't seen someone get hit in the face, like, puck to the face. Yeah. I think not that I can remember. I'm trying to think. Anybody took a... Yeah, not that I can remember. The only one that I'm thinking of, like, a player, like, wincing and leaving the ice. Yeah, I can't think of any. Anyways, so yeah, but on the goal, by House was with Marner. Okay, it went glove side. Here's the thing too. So this was also, we're into the first period. We're heading into the second as well. Something that to iterate is 1 shot on goal in all 4 power plays for Carolina up until this point. That stat came around and bit me in the ass, because the second we're like late before Stahl's power play goal, with minutes to go. My brain was thinking, because I wrote the stat down, I was like, this power play doesn't matter, because they've only shot the puck once and like the 4-player plays that they've had. Like both teams have been able to push guys to the boards, clean up the middle of the ice, and no room to work with. Yeah, this, chances are they're not throwing anything on net. This could be killed off. And then all of a sudden, there, there we go. Goss stall goal. Made me look like a damn fool. But that was one step that I was going to look at and circle if Vegas won this, where Carolina needs to do something with their power play. Well, I guess I don't need to talk about it anymore because two of their goals tonight were power play goals. All right, let's get now when Howden scored to make it 2-0 at the end of the power play. There were a lot of chances. And here's the thing, too. Yes, the Hurricanes won this, but where I feel like this game was over is the amount of short-ended chances that Hart was able to swipe away and stop. You look at that Vegas power play. Excuse me, I don't even know how to talk. You look at Vegas's power play in that second, right when Howden made it 2-0, scoring his second of the day. The Canes would just rush. They'd send 2 guys at the net, 3 at the net, and then they'd be turned away. And scoring chances, shots on goal, it favored the Canes the whole night. Just Hart was playing phenomenal, and he was stopping everything. The end of second intermission, there was a stat that showed it was like 23 or 28 wins, 0 losses, but 3 overtime losses. And then in the playoffs, Vegas leading after 2, 8. No, so it was like 20 or 28 wins. I just kind of like did a 20 because I don't remember the exact number 1,000%. But seeing the 8-0 of Vegas, if they're leading after 2, won 8 games. So my brain was thinking, Canes have a big hill to climb because not only is it 2-0. Your offense hasn't gotten anything going. Vegas is playing good on defense. Vegas is just owning you because, again, if you draw a ball diamond from the goal out, again, like the middle of the zone, Vegas's defense was smothering the whole game. But everything slowly turned around in the third period. Everything that we witnessed in the third period, I didn't see happening. I thought this game was over. Which maybe if you're a Bills fan and after, what did the Ravens go up by? They went up by a lot, Maybe Bills fans felt the same way on that Sunday Night Football where they were down by so much and left, but then the Bills stormed back. Just offensive production on shots on net, forechecks, everything. Defensively, Anderson was getting some good saves as well, too. Like, we have yet, but I'll circle back to this point that I'm trying to make. Basically, says I think Vegas is going to walk the dog in game 3 and 4, but we'll get there. So don't let me forget here. Let me write it down. Vegas walking the dog, and let me explain why I feel that way. Hold on, let me write it down. Vegas walking dog. Walking dog. All right. Because this game was very hard to dictate kind of on who's the NHL group? No, but so we start the third. We have 10 minutes. So again, for 50 minutes of this game, boring as hell. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like the way that Vegas took over the game and Carolina wasn't doing anything. They had good looks, but again, no goals. This game was very, very boring. But then around the 11-minute mark, 10-minute mark with barely anything left to go, Svechnikov had his goal. He were, behind the net, behind the red line, just pushing out, collecting a goal, fighting for the puck, walling a guy off, and then he kind of did a wraparound. He didn't do the full-on Michigan where he's picking up the puck and throwing it past Hart's head, but his backhand deflected off of one of the defenders and went in. So, like, if we're looking at the two posts, Hart's hugging this one side as he's coming around this way, It hit off the back post, off the backside net area, because it was just like a dink, and yeah, he bobs and he weaves. Then there was 10 minutes left to go. Okay, now the second goal came 2 minutes after. I said this, and I know that I said this because I wanted to bring it up in the stream. I said blatantly, this is not going to let Carolina just score in bunches. And we looked at what game 3 was. We looked at what game 4 was. We looked at what game 5 was in the Eastern Conference Finals. What dictated game 4 in the Eastern Conference Finals? Aho? Was it Aho? There was a power play goal, and then in the span of 2 minutes in the first period, there was an avalanche where we were leaving the first period 3-0. How many shots on goals did the Habs have? Like 2. And so game 4 was over because the Canes had more goals than Montreal had shots on net. Like, it was insane. And I said Vegas isn't going to do that. They're not going to let Carolina just score in bunches. Well, this is me taking my foot out of my mouth because I put in there, and I was very wrong on that. So then Jankowski scored to make it 2-2 with 7 minutes left to go. He went glove side, bar down. Here is how it happened. It got passed over the middle, and like somebody was pushing it in from the blue line, and he was just kind of trailing behind, and kind of like Gostisbehere's goal where someone walls the defender down, and here comes the puck squibbling by. Just these two players, like a Vegas player and a Canes player, like they just fell over each other in Vegas's zone, and the puck was just sitting there all alone. And then so they fell over on the right side. The defender was too much leveraged out of position to come cross over to get the puck, and so then Jankowski was right there behind it to gather the puck, where he shot it glove side, just a grab and threw it right on net. And again, bar side down, you could hear that ding. And again, 2 minutes. It took them 2 minutes for them to swing this game 2-0. I mean, from 2-0 to 2. Okay, now let's get to the Vegas challenge and the Anderson save. I think Hart had a hell of a save. I think Anderson had multiple saves in this game. Like, there was the save. It was sometime in the first period or maybe the beginning of the... It's the one where he, like, threw a blocker and he lost his stick. This is Hart, who I'm talking about. Like, he had that, like, there was an open net and someone sailed one. And then Anderson had his handful of saves to keep them in the game, because again, this game could have gotten ugly where it's 3-0, 4-0. This could have been a blowout for Vegas. And I'm not trying to sound salty either in my analysis of how the game went. Like, in fact, I'm actually happy because it's like, phew, it's not going to be a sweep, but like, because again, there's parts of me where if they're up 2-0, oh boy, kind of like how Knicks fans are already talking about winning game 2 and sweeping in the Garden, and it's like, oh boy. Hey guys, it's not the 90s and early 2000s anymore. Like, teams are going to bounce back. And anyways. So the Vegas challenge with the Anderson save and scramble was it Barbashev? Someone took it behind the red line and they squeaked around, and then they're throwing some. Meanwhile, Anderson's like torpedoed out, laid flat like a pancake with his bad save, trying to like grab it and like hold on to it. Stahl jumped on him, but the puck was not secured, and then it squeaked under his chest, and then Stahl, like, with this skate, kicked it in, but the ref whistled and blew it off, no goal. And then you could hear the Vegas bench going, well, what the hell? They looked at it for 2 seconds, and then the ref came out, but because how loud it was, this is what they were talking about after intermission, is the call was no goal, goalie interference. But because it was so loud, I didn't hear the ref say that. Now, again, could this be smoke? No, it's like, okay, yeah, maybe probably they didn't say that. But what Coach Torque challenged was the goalie interference, which everybody was jumping on. That's what lost him the game. You shouldn't have called, a challenge on a goalie interference. It cost you the game. I would disagree, because I don't actually think that. Because Stoner's goal, You let bygones be bygones. And we're playing for overtime after blowing a 2-0 lead and Carolina leading 3-2. So to blame the loss on that challenge, BS. I don't know. I would consider it a challenge, and my challenge would be challenge if it's a goal or not, because there's parts where you watch the replay, and this is where I'm thinking about Vegas walking the dog and the term ball don't lie. I have said multiple times, whether I'm talking baseball, hockey, basketball, football, I say ball don't lie, because there have been games where touchdown will be called back, there will be pass interference, there'll be goaltending, there will be something. And it's like, no, this is a ball don't lie moment, because then what happens? Oh, ball don't lie, look at that. Boston won. Ball don't lie, oh, look at that. Sabres, like, just things, just anyways. I had a video called Puck Don't Lie. I can't remember which. It was after Carolina. One of Carolina's goals got called back against the Ottawa. Yeah, in the Ottawa series. And I was like, I wouldn't have called that goal back. I would have let it rain out. Anyways, they played the first overtime. They went into the second overtime. Canes ended up winning. And it's like, yeah, Puck Don't Lie. You don't take things back. So Vegas challenge, lose scramble. I think personally, the best way to determine how that goal have happened, you have to go with the aerial view, which was my thumbnail. You're welcome. Thumbnail I used, because it just, that picture, encapsulates. Are you good? Sorry, people. 3:20. Are we live? Sorry, people. Had to take a swig real quick. Okay. Barbashev. I think he took a dive, truthfully. But I also think Stahl did as well, which we'll get there. So Barbashev took a dive. Then Vegas went on the penalty. Typically my rule of thumb when we're looking at dives is, does it look like he's, bracing for impact, or does the body bounce off the ice? With Stahl, with Barbashev, I do think the defender purposely backed into him, and you can see Barbashev's intent of getting out of the way. He could have gotten out of the way 100%, but there's parts of me where he's knocked, and then he sells it. He can see him diving out of the way, but he sold it at the same time. But this doesn't lead to much, because, again, Vegas other power play with Howden's goal, Howden ended up scoring after that. So I do think he dove, but Vegas, again, they pulled Hart, and then they had the extra man attacker. I don't think it really mattered, because, again, Stone was going to be on the ice anyway. So then Stone had his backhand shot, and then we are tied at 3 apiece with, like, I don't know, a minute to go, if that, like 3 seconds. How did that play develop and happen? So it was shot, and then it ricocheted off of Anderson back towards Stone, and then Stone just kind of back slapped it, which people also thought it could have been an own goal, Slavin, but no, Mark Stone just kind of backhanded it, because there was like 7 guys in the blue. It was crowded in the blue. And what's kind of funny too is, because again, you go to the aerial view, you could have looked at a goalie interference goal by Stoner as he was in the blue, but he came out and Anderson deflected it off him. Like, it bounced off Anderson, bounced off Stone, and then Stone backhanded it. But again, we call Jalen Brunson Captain Clutch. We should call Stone Captain Clutch as well, because, yeah, there's like 5 seconds left. Goals crowded, and he scores, making it 3-3. That was my perfect ball don't lie moment. Again, yeah, like, was it a goal? Was it not a goal with the Vegas challenge? We'll never know. We'll never know, and it doesn't matter. All right, here we go. Now let's set up the quick overtime. Here we go. So Hurdle got caught. tripping Stahl. Here's the thing. Do I think Stahl? Yes. Yes, I do. Now, they both sideways went into the boards. Hurdle had his stick poked out in between the legs, and he clipped the left skate, and then Stahl kind of like fell into the boards. But again, Stahl for impact, and so that was kind of my, okay, no, he's not actually, because there's parts of me again where if you're actually tripped, your body can't brace for impact because you're like, oh shit, I just got tripped. So I do think because of the severity and like the situation that we were at, there was a lot of, oh, he tripped me, oh, he touched me at the very end of the game. Whether it was Stahl, whether it was Ershev, I think Marner got involved. Like there was a lot of flopping everywhere. And it's like, what the hell? Am I watching basketball out here? What the hell is going on? And so then the Canes went on the power play. I wouldn't blame this loss on Hurdle as well. I think I've said this before. If you have to win hockey games on a power play and the only form of goals you get is the power play, how long is that going to last? How long is that going to last? That's my only reaction. Now, don't get me wrong. Again, I'm happy that the Canes won tonight. I'm not trying to sound like a total Vegas homer where I'm totally disappointed. I want 7 games. I want 7 games. I want to see Vegas win. I want 7 games. I want to see Carolina win. In fact, if Carolina wins the Stanley Cup final, you want to know where I want them to win the Stanley Cup? I want them to win it in Vegas, actually, because how sick would it be for the call to, because there'll be something jackpot, they hit the lucky number, blah blah blah, Vegas, and like for the Canes to be on the road, and we haven't seen a team win the Stanley Cup on the road in since the Avalanche in 22, because Vegas won it at home, Florida won it at home both times. And so here we are. Like I wouldn't mind seeing the Hurricanes winning in Vegas like that. That'd be pretty sick. So yeah, no. I'm not too mad or anything about power play goals. It's just one of those things where the series of things that start to add and build up in this game of why the Hurricane in this game, it's not going to be there for every single game. Because there's parts of me, and I felt this way in the Buffalo Boston Bruins series, where Boston after them won, they didn't blow another lead. But then again, they never had a lead after that, because I believe they won game 2 and then they won game 5 because they forced 6, but then Buffalo ended up blowing them out in game 6. But like after Boston was up like 3-0 or 2-0, again, just like how this game was, and then they blew the lead, and then Buffalo ended up winning it in overtime. No, they won it in regulation because it was like 4-2. I said during that stream, I was like, this isn't going to happen again. Boston, sorry, now I'm losing my voice. Boston's not going to blow another lead like how they did tonight. In that same kind of thoughts and process, my thought to that is Vegas was up 2-0. They had 10 minutes to go. They blew the game. Like, let's be real, they blew it because they're up 2-0. And then what other hockey game, again, like if Carolina's up 2-0 to Montreal's not coming back. If like I'm trying to think of other playoff teams where in that same situation with that same offensive production for the whole game, what other team against a stout defense like Vegas, what team's coming back? Even with the Avalanche in the Western Conference Final, like Vegas being up by how much they were in games 1 and game 2, the Avalanche didn't come back. And so anyways. So we go to the power play, and then Jarvis, it almost was kind of perfectly timed where it's like, oh, commenter jinx. He was talking because Aho and Jarvis have been absent this whole series. And then we have a quick one-timer, Gus to spare over to Jarvis, and he just rips it home 4-3. And we have ourselves a tie series. It's cool. It was pretty impressive. Like, I think with just how fast that goal went, like if he collected it and then shot it, there's going to be a block save there. Like, no, it was a quick one-timer, good rip. Way to get himself involved and on the board as well, because you look at who's gotten involved in these games. Again, their fourth line, the Hurricanes' fourth line, it has been what has dictated this series in these games, because it hasn't been their big main guys, Jarvis and Aho, and Stahl as well, but then Stahl's kind of like peaked in there. But anyways, Canes win 4-3, super comeback, great game. And now let's get to the final point that I was talking about Vegas is going to walk the dog, and here's my thoughts. So game one, I joked about it being like, a high scoring 6-5, 6-4, 5-3, 4-2 kind of game. It ended up being 5-4. I had Vegas, and then in game two, I didn't make a video, but what I would have told you is I would have said low scoring, 3-1, 3-2, 4-2. Even though 4-2 is not that scoring, but it kind of is. I would have said 4-2, 3-1 in favor of the Hurricanes. Because, again, you got to have both you have a game where your goalies give up so much goals, and then they're, eventually crazy waters will find even playing field, and like goals will get recentered back into the series. Now, with how this game went, this is where I'm leaning game three. It's going to be a blowout, and Vegas is going to blow out Carol. Did you hear that? My voice cracked. I was cleaning out. You're in a movie theater. Welcome to Krusty Krab. No, Krusty Burger. My bad. Here's why I think it's going to be a blowout for Vegas in game three. And I was kind of doubt it where it's like, okay, who's the NHL rooting for here? The goal scramble that got called back, there's that. And with how, again, did Stahl get tripped? Yes, he did. But like just the fact of how an odd man advantage for Carolina doing nothing on the power play. It's cooler. PPG. That's the only time you said say it. Just the power play. Don't say PP. Just say power play. But with how they lost the game on, a controversial call. Like, because I'm trying, like, again, I'm not trying to sound like a Vegas homer. I'm going to sound like this was a goal, and I'm trying to look and benefit, like, for the game. Because, again, if the game just played out after Vegas scored, that Stahl power play goal probably doesn't happen, truthfully. And then also, because they decided to challenge it and got it wrong, they were penalized, and then Kane scored on that. And so with that, and however Vegas wants to take of how, okay, we got screwed out of game two, which they didn't. Like, they blew the game. They had the 2-0 with 10 minutes left to go. That's why I feel like Vegas is going to walk the dog, where it's like, we see all these things where, we get called on, we get penalized. We gifted them 2 goals, and we gifted them back into the series instead of going up 2-0. That's why I feel like game 3, just with how slow, the Hurricanes got into this, because it took them 50 minutes to get into the game. That's why I have a feeling that game 3 could be a blowout, like 5-1, 5-1, 6-2. where Anderson's pulled sometime in the second period, or because there's parts of me where you go look at teams that, again, I'm going to come from the angle of getting shafted, where like you get screwed out of the game. There are times when teams come back and they just rip up the next team that they play. And so with how this game went, I mean, shoot, look at what happened to the Knicks and Hawks series. They get embarrassed, they get blown, they lose game 3, they go 1. What happens in game 4? They rip apart the Hawks, and then they clean it up super quick and move on. So that's why I'm thinking about Vegas and stuff, where the next game of how it's like, okay, you took a couple goals off the board. We're going to leave no doubt next time. And yeah, where I don't think Coach Brendan Moore would pull Anderson, but if we're going to compare goalie for goalie, Hart's been better. But again, we're at the end of the first intermission. He only faced 2 shots and he let 2 by. And then, yeah. So we'll lean that way. Because again, Vegas bounced back. Now, if it goes 1-1-1-1-1-1-1-1 all the way down and they just zigzag back and forth, that'd be so sick. That would be so. No team actually gains advantage. But now it's a best of 5 series, and I just, with how the other reason why I have a feeling on game 3 could fortune Vegas and turn into blowout is, look at where they were with the Avs series. They went down 3-0. The Avs needed to bring something, turned into 5-3, and then they blew out. And then, so there's that comparison a little bit. But then also the fact that they were freaking down, and then with like 50 seconds left to go, clutch, had a goal. Not during, a power play like it was full on. Now they did have an extra attacker, but Stone would have been on the ice, and it's not like hey, who's that second or third liner? Who's the extra defenseman out there? You know what I mean? So, anyways, that's my thoughts on that. News around the sports world. I saw that Larkin has requested a trade from Detroit. So he enjoyed Milan way too much, and winning gold and knowing what success and victory was in the Olympics, that he's like, get me the hell out of Dodge. I don't think he's leaving. I know he requested a trade, but there's parts of me where there's going to be buzz for the next maybe week. But knowing just hockey and hockey culture, it would be, it would keep him there in Detroit. You look around at the league and go, okay, let's try to go get a goalie, or let's try to, McDavid. Oh, we heard you're having trouble. Oilers. You only signed a 2-year. Hey, you want to cut that 2-year short by 1 and then over to Detroit? Come on down. Because how stupid would Larkin be to leave Detroit? And then it's like, hell yeah, I'm going to Edmonton. And he's looking around. Hey, where the hell's McDavid? Well, you were part of the package deal, brother. So, yeah, it could get blown out of proportion, but who knows? I don't think he's leaving. I think they'll try to bring some pieces, but again, I mean, the Red Wings have been on the door a while, kind of like yours truly, my Penguins, and the Capitals the last handful of years. I think they bring in, you improve goalkeeping, you bring some guys that are willing to get greasy a little bit, and then Detroit's gonna, because the Atlantic was wide open this year. The Leafs didn't show up. The East was wide open this year because the Rangers, the Panthers, the Capitals. It's like, really, with all 8 teams that got to, because this is what is so funny, and this is what's going to piss people off if Vegas wins. Knowing how many points and wins Vegas got. Like, Vegas played so shitty during the regular season, they fired their own coach. And there are 5 other teams, like the Capitals are in that list, Detroit's in that list, where there's a handful of teams that have more points and more wins, but because of how the East was this year, they didn't go. Versus Vegas, where it's like, well, hey, is anybody else besides the Ducks going to show up in the Pacific? Nope. So, anyways, so there's that. College football news. I've already given my thoughts and reactions because we hit our 100-day a little while ago. That was past. We'll probably go over that later once it's like finalized and I rewatch that video. It's just to put rules and regulations on college football, which we knew this was going to happen because college football has turned into the wild, wild west of just whatever's going on. Because again, I will agree with Saban. It has turned into an arms race of like, okay, who can buy the best? But here's the thing. You know who's broken that stereotype? Miami, Indiana, Texas A&M. Now, Texas A&M had like the best recruiting class in 2022 that one time. Like there was that but like Texas Tech, I think Texas Tech had the most payout for NIL. Dude, they got blanked by Oregon. Oregon was like, I don't give a shit about your bankroll. And then they beat them in the Orange Bowl. So as impressive as it is to pay players a lot of money, there's like two sides of it where it's like, you can be the Hoosiers where it's like, we don't give a shit. We're still just going to win because we're going to load our team full of 3-stars. Or you can be like Texas Tech where you did pay your quarterback $5 million, but he's got caught up on some issues and he might not even play college football this fall. So, which by the way, if that goes through and he doesn't, and he has to go to the NFL or whatever, because again, I don't know the whole thing. Sorry, I'm trying not to gag because I don't know. I'm getting, I don't know. My sign acting up, and I'm talking a lot, and I'm getting cotton mouth. What's the term I'm looking for? Because the procedures and stuff, like I don't know everything. I can look it up a little bit more. But with Texas Tech, for example, with that whole situation, there's parts of me where, if he's not the dude, Texas Tech ain't going anywhere. Like, the Texas Tech had a stout defense. Excuse me, and fine, you know what I mean? And Big 12 was kind of weak as shit this last year. Like, it was either BYU or Texas Tech. Arizona didn't come to play. Kansas State didn't come to play. Iowa State didn't come to play. So Kansas didn't come to play. Like, there were a whole bunch. Utah was the only other team that could have really had a shot. But when BYU played Utah in the Holy War in like week 7 or what, that's what decided, okay, who's going to be team 2? Who's going to go play Texas Tech? All right. So there's thoughts on college football. We might do a video on that later. Baseball. Aaron Judge is out indefinitely. Breaking news: the New York Yankees will miss the postseason. I'm teasing. I don't know. I haven't looked at standings in a while. NBA. The NBA is they're going to investigate and look into Jalen Brunson and his altercation after the game. I thought it was going after Scott Fisher. I thought he was going after the ref, but he was going after one of the fans. And if you watch the video back, whichever fans had their phones, I think it was them, but they're going to go investigate into it, which whatever. It's like, okay, 4 fans get banned for life total that day. But no, it was pretty interesting. Like, I think Spurs purposely went after Brunson, obviously, but no bad gay shit, nothing like that. But like, there were a lot like shit. you could see shorts and stuff of like people in Brunson's jersey and it pulling away as he's trying to do a layup. But I just, yeah, I thought he was getting up in the ref's face, which again, I think it's good for the game, dude. I should be called pretty even. And so the amount of no call that happened and the amount of times the Spurs fouled the Knicks, I'd feel some type of way as well. The other thing too that I think, and this is just a hot take, men should get the fuck out of the way after a post game. Like, it's because literally for about like a 2-minute no cut, it followed Brunson over to the scorer's table and then followed him back into the locker room. And you can see him kind of like ducking to try to get out of the way. And it's like, get the hell out of the way, cameraman. Do this. Ready? Watch. Whoop, and follow him back. And then have the second camera follow him out. Like, that's just me. That's just me. Like, there are a couple silly angles and stuff. It's just kind of funny where it's like, woo, looking out of the building. But, so that's basketball. And our wide receiver, our boy Watson, signed a 4-year extension with the Packers. And then you know what? Because it's like 100-day out or whatever, I gave a soft Super Bowl prediction. I said Rams Bills, which it's like for the 100th time. But for division wise, I would say, okay, maybe the North. Let's start with AFC side. North, probably the Steelers or the Ravens. And then East, Bills. South, give me the Jags. West, Chiefs bounce back. So that's AFC. And then NFC side, let's go Lions. Northeast. Washington, South. Falcons. Let's go Falcons. Why not? And then Northeast, South. West. Rams. They just Myles Garrett. It's got to be the Rams. So anyways, guys, that's all I got. So I'll end it here. But I thank you all for watching. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.